Hi guys, welcome to my channel Nyasha Z Presents, where I typically have interviews with young Zimbabweans in professional and academic spaces. But today, because of an overwhelming amount of messages I've been getting about applying to the US, how to get started, if you're eligible, if it's possible, and why to even do that. So why should you even apply to America? I think for most of my fellow Zimbabweans, it will be like, okay, there's greater opportunities and for the job market, and if you are talented in a specific thing, you might find opportunities that specific thing perhaps better than in Zimbabwe because of the current situation right now. But even if you're from a developed country or you're doing well, here's some reasons that, especially if you're coming from a British-like education system. Something that I really love about America is interdisciplinary learning, which some of the people that I interviewed on this platform, they even attest to that it's so important. At school in Zim, we are immediately told to specialize in sciences or arts. And before we even get to know who we are, and to be honest, I feel like even when you're 30, 40 years old, you're still figuring yourself out. And so it's so important to me that America, or at least the schools that I know, they offer this interdisciplinary education where you can focus on your major, but you also take classes in different fields. For example, I was electrical engineering, but I took classes in photography, in acting, economics, things that I was just interested in. That really helped me. I cannot imagine even having this channel and having the curiosity I have about people, about life, about philosophy, history, if I did not have those classroom moments where I had to engage and talk about those things. Yeah, and so that interdisciplinary learning feeds into now having critical thinking skills, at the same time problem solving skills, because I believe even if you're doing, let's say, a history or an arts major, you will still be required to take perhaps a math class or something that will still require you to do some problem solving or something more quantitative. And so I feel like at the end of the day, most graduates graduate with like basic skills that will help them adapt to a good number of roles in life. Particularly for me as an engineering major, I could still be able to go into law, into medicine, if I'd taken the prereqs. Something else about university in America is you constantly have assignments, so you're constantly on your feet and you're gonna learn how to manage your time, which is a skill that I promise is very important. I've actually studied abroad in the UK. I want to give kind of a disclaimer that my experiences in America and the UK in university/college is through my lens as an engineering student. So someone who studied sociology, anthropology, finance might have kind of a different experience, but I think the general theme is that in America, the coursework and what you do every week counts more than perhaps in the UK, where sometimes the course grade, 80% of it is like the final exam and 20% is like coursework. Whereas in America, sometimes your projects and your weekly assignments, they have so much weight to them. You also have midterms, sometimes 2 midterms, 3 midterms, so you are constantly having this assessment happening. It's got its pros and cons. In the UK, I had more time to kind of relax, and then towards the end of the semester it was really crunch time. Whereas in America, I am constantly doing work, and then even more work the week of the midterm, even more work during the final, but still you kind of have comfort knowing that, I performed this way during the first midterm, the second one. So you kind of know where you are with the course, basically, instead of getting the surprise of your life during the final exam. And also I think it's also kind of important for me as a developer as well, adopting styles like agile, where these weekly or more regular interval work check-ins or assessments can lead to higher productivity. Speaking of just different education systems, the Zimbabwean one, even though I didn't get to go to university there, my roommate and I and other people, we're always talking about how we feel like we really missed out, because I think it would just be a different experience to go to uni with fellow Zimbabweans, and just I think it would just be a really different dynamic, whereas I had to fit in to a different culture and not have many people I could immediately relate to. Yeah, so those are the pros and cons as well when you're deciding whether you want to study abroad. But the payoff is there, and if you want to find out more about how other people are doing, people who came to the diaspora, I do interview people like that on this platform. I think it would be helpful to check that out as well. Now we're going to talk about how to even apply to the US, and maybe even finding courage and confidence. Not everyone, I recognize, gets into college access programs or programs for opportunity students to help them to apply. And so for everyone else, the resource that is there is Education USA. All you have to do is find the location, and it's usually in the largest city in your country. For Zimbabwe, that would be Harare. I think there's also a version of Education USA in Gweru and in Mutare. And so you just have to Google that, or go to Education USA Zimbabwe or Education USA whatever country you're in. They have their own websites. They also have Facebook pages, and it will be so easy for you to find how to get started applying to the US. And then they tell you what to do, what you're gonna need, whether you're gonna need to write standardized tests, get letters of recommendation, write essays / personal statements and stuff like that. For most people that talk to me, when I tell them about these requirements, or I tell them to visit these centers, they're almost like, that's too much work, why do I need to go to this place? Or why are there so many requirements? Why can't I just send my A-levels and that's it? But most people are reacting that way. So already there's like a funnel, like there's less people who are interested because they think, this is too involved, I don't have the qualifications and stuff like that. First of all, just believe in yourself and have discipline, and believe that the fact that there is more requirements than usual means you have more areas where you can shine, and I'll explain that. It means if your grades were not the best they could be, you can cover up in the recommendations, you can cover up in the essays. So that means every single aspect of the application, give it your best, and it means the weaker parts will balance that. And so that's what they call the holistic approach. Most schools in the US, which is they don't just look at your grades, they look at your activities, how you've been contributing to society. They look at standardized tests, what the principal of your school is saying in the recommendation, or whoever your teacher that you want to give the recommendation. Those are all important. The second thing after going to Education USA and gathering all these documents is to really do some self-introspection. And I think I really took it to the next level, because when you're told to have all these, to write these personal statements, and then there are questions about who you are, what you value, words to describe yourself, I really took it super seriously, and I really reflected and thought about it, and I would encourage people to do that as well. The third thing is having people to do this with. So you might not be in a college access program like I was, where I had fellow people to lean on who were also applying. Again, going to Education USA, that means already you have people who know about the process and now know that you're interested, and that always helps to make the process real and to make it reachable and not impossible. And they might even give you examples of people who are at the school, and those are so key because they can even help you when you're applying and writing specific essays for the school, because they might even know some of the traditions of the school, some of the values that will help you when you're applying. Because really, as an admissions officer, I would assume that they are trying to find a match. So you might be a very, talented, skilled person at certain things, but they want to see how will you adapt to the environment. Like, does it match your personality, your experiences, and your abilities, or even your interests? And so the people at the school can help you see where those things align. When I give some of the people asking me examples of people who can help them, sometimes they also think, oh, now you're ditching me or something. But I think every time someone is connecting you to someone, that's great, because that's more people possibly rooting for you and helping you throughout this process. And most of them, I think, would be willing to be used as a resource. Not all of them, but I can tell you the people that I've interviewed on this platform, most of them would be happy to. Yeah, I think the hardest thing, for some of us growing up was we didn't even have examples. And the fact that you have people like this who came from the same country or they had similar experiences and they made it to the place you want to be, that's such a useful resource, and definitely take advantage of it. Be confident and reach out to people, but when you do reach out, be very specific. Don't expect them to just write the essay for you or to give you all the answers. You need to be very specific with your questions. Yeah, so I would say if you haven't gone to an Education USA center, go now and start looking up schools that offer financial aid, because that's another issue. It can be pretty easy to get into any school, but do they want to fund you? That's the question. Yeah, so look for schools and look for people at those schools and get mentors. If you have any questions, leave them in the comments below, and all the best. Yeah, please leave a comment on your thoughts on this video. I absolutely love reading your comments. If you liked this video, child, you're probably gonna like the other ones. So click the subscribe button so that you join the family, and subscribe to my channel. Have you subscribed?